Welcome back to the Real Slim Fatty Show. I'm your host, Fatty Hawama. And when you look back in time, in 2015, the flex was a blue check mark. In 2020, it was literally a calendar link. In 2026, it's not having a smartphone. And we spent 15 years inventing tools to be reachable, more accessible, more visible. And now you look at the people that are winning are the ones who never actually use them. And that's the thing that's not the only thing that flipped. Today, we're going to walk through three different games where the rules silently changed while none of us were really watching: reachability, visibility, effort, and the one move that I think actually still works in all three of them. And when you look at status is a moving target. It's always been a moving target. The thing that signaled status when you were 22 is embarrassing now. And nobody sent you the memo, right? There's no email that goes out. There's no LinkedIn announcement. It's just something that changes. While you're still doing the thing that used to mean something, it used to bring you status. And the wild part is most of us are still playing the version of the game from 2018, from 2010. We're working harder than ever at moves that don't move the needle anymore. We're answering emails in 5 seconds. We're posting out of habit. We're polishing the cover letter that no one's reading. And we're wondering why we feel behind. And quick aside, like I've lived in four different cities: St. Louis, Seattle, Boston, and Chicago. And the wild thing about moving like that is you get to watch the world in different lights. You get to see the word flex mean four totally different things. In St. Louis, the flex was, what high school did you go to? That's the first question anyone asks you. I went to Chaminade College Prep, and it automatically gave me and brought me credibility in rooms that they thought I didn't belong in. And when I tell them that Jason Tatum went to my high school, I'm officially cool. I'm officially that guy. Seattle, the flex was how granola you were, how early you started composting, whether you bike to work, what hike did you do last weekend. In Boston, it was who your family is and how long they've been there and what college you went to. Boston wants to know your last name and your zip code going back 3, 4 generations. Chicago is what company you're running. Who do you know? Who can you get a reservation at a place that doesn't have reservations? That's your flex. Who's at your dinner? Whose number do you have? That's the flex in Chicago. So you look at it and it's the same word with four totally different games. So when I tell you that the flex on the internet has changed over time, obviously that's an intuitive thought. So being reachable, being visible, looking like you tried, that it's all flipped on us. And each one used to be aspirational. Each one is now a low status move. If you look like you tried, it's low status. And the people who quietly figured this out, they're the ones you're low key envious of without knowing why. So when you think about reachability, it used to be a luxury, and I mean that literally. Like literally used to be a luxury. If you go back far enough, having a phone in your house, it meant you mattered. The phone in your car, you mattered. You were important. The phone book was a status document. Getting your number into the right phone book is what got you invited to the right things. Then cell phones happened, and reachability got democratized. You went from home phones to beepers to cell phones, and reachability got democratized. Everyone had one. So having one stopped meaning anything. Then smartphones happened and reachability stopped being an event. I remember when I got my first phone, it obviously wasn't a smartphone. I was like, oh my God, I'm the coolest person. It meant something. Now it becomes a state. It's 8-year-olds they get iPhones, and you weren't reachable sometimes anymore. You were reachable always. The phone in your pocket vibrated 55 times a day, and you didn't even notice it most of the time. And I remember when I was working at Boeing, having a BlackBerry was the ultimate flex. It was that you meant something if you had a Boeing BlackBerry, and it meant that people cared to contact you at all times. And when you look at that, it was the stamp of you were important. And now we're in the AI era. Other people's bots are reading your messages before you even seen them. Your inbox is being summarized, it's being triaged, it's being replied to, sometimes by a system you didn't even ask for and don't fully understand. I know Gmail, when they came out with Gemini responding to emails, I'm like, this is the stupidest shit in the world. But now it just always does it and runs it. And reachability isn't something you control anymore. The machine is reachable on your behalf at all times for all the different things that you're doing. So every single step that made access easier made it less valuable. And that's the pattern. That's the asymmetry. That's the thing no one really talks about. The people you most want to reach in the world, they're the hardest to reach. And that's always been that story. CEOs have EAs. They have executive assistants. Therapists make you book 3 weeks out. You can't get reservations at restaurants for 3 months. Doctors hide behind a portal that crashes every other week. Lawyers don't return calls. They have someone return a call, whether they're going to return your call or not. The high status move has always been making people work to get you. And what the internet did is it gave everyone the tools to do that. You don't need the EA anymore. You can mute notifications. You can put your phone on DND. You can have AI triage your inbox, only bring the important ones up. You can be the CEO of your own attention. Who gets you? So the move that used to belong to the rich and powerful, being scarce, is now available to anyone with a smartphone. So scarcity got democratized. The high status move has always been making people work to get you, and the internet democratized that. And so I'll tell you what's funny about running a company. I'm the boss, but I'm the bottleneck. I have a team, I have a calendar link, I have 1,000 AI tools, and I'm still the one being managed by the system that I built. That's the new asymmetry. Even the people who supposedly won the game, right? You run your own company, you do all this stuff, are getting played by the game. That's why this feels new, even though it's not. The flex isn't new. The access to the flex is new. And most of the people doing the I'm so hard to reach, quote unquote, they're not actually hard to reach. You know, the friend, the I was off the grid. They post, sorry, I was off the grid all weekend from the airport on the way back. They have their airport Instagram story. They tell you they don't really do social media, but then they have a fake Instagram account with 800 followers. They watch your story 23 seconds after you post it, but they're not on social, right? They have a constant group chat, a constant group text going off in their pocket the entire time. They're telling you how unreachable they are. This is like vibes unreachable. It's a personality cosplaying a problem. It's the new I'm so busy from 2014. Same energy, same lie. It's just a slightly different costume. And so actually being actually unreachable is a completely different thing. Actually unreachable is the friend who doesn't see your text for a week and couldn't care less. They're not sorry about it. Who doesn't have notifications on, who isn't performing, not being on it. They're just legitimately not on it. And so the worst thing is, and I'm super guilty of this, are the posts on like the Soho House rooftop of out of office, and meanwhile I'm laying on the sunbed in my clothes responding to emails and Slacks, and the oh my bad, I'm at Soho, thinking it was like a flex or something. And so here's the test: if you have to tell people you're unreachable, you're not unreachable. You're literally marketing. And now here's what I think is really kind of underneath it all is just we're tired. People are genuinely tired. The dopamine cost of instantly being reachable is brutal. You see delivered without read, and your stomach does a little dip. Your boss messages you on a Sunday, and you can't enjoy the rest of your day, even if you don't open it. Just seeing the notification does the damage. The red dot did its job. You've been infected. And I'm one of those people who genuinely cannot handle a notification. My phone, 0 red badges, 0 notifications, email completely wiped. I cannot see a dot or a blue dot or a red dot or anything. I can't have one message at all. Same with Slack, same with email. And even right now, I see a notification on my laptop for an iMessage, and I can't wait to clear it. And I have read receipts on my phone for that purpose as well. And we're not faking the desire to disappear. The desire is real. We just don't have a language for it that isn't the flex. The only available script is I'm hard to reach now, and that makes me cool. We don't have a script for I'm overstimulated and grieving the version of me that existed before this all started. So when someone tells you unreachable is the new luxury, listen for what they're actually saying. They're not saying that they're winning. They're not saying that they're cooked. They're not saying anything. The flex is a coping mechanism. Meanwhile, you hang out with that person, their phone is attached to their hand. And when you look at the nuance of this is there's a class story underneath this whole conversation that we can't pretend that isn't there. Being actually genuinely unreachable is a privilege. The Uber driver can't just ghost. The freelancer who replies to a brief in 3 days doesn't get the gig. The employee that responds to something, or when you're looking for a job, you don't get the job. The single mom who runs a small business can't put her phone on DND because that's literally her income. So there are people whose livelihood depends on being responsive. And the new flex of, I don't really check my phone is not available to them. When I was fundraising, one of my investors said the diligence is the diligence. And what he meant by that is if I was responding at 10 p.m. to his emails, that means I was on it. And if I was getting them the documents when they asked them, that means I was on it. It wasn't necessarily what I sent over or the stuff that's in the documents. It was the fact that I was doing it. And being responsive was always one of the key reasons that people would invest. They would book meetings, they would have conversations with me. They would always be super respectful of my time because I was on it all the time. So when I say unreachable is the new flex, I'm not pointing at the people who can't afford to play the game. I'm pointing literally at the rest of us, the people who could set boundaries and don't, the people who keep their notifications on out of guilt or habit or call themselves busy, whatever it is, the people who have all the tools to opt out and they just simply won't opt out. So the play isn't being unreachable. It's not real for most of us. I'm always unreachable. And if you don't hear back from me, I'm probably purposely ignoring you or I don't want to really respond to you. Anyone can throw their phone in a drawer for the weekend. That's really not a skill. That's kind of a vacation. And when the email comes in that you don't have to answer until Friday, but you answer it in 8 minutes anyways, that's the moment. That's the thing nobody does well, especially now, especially in my generation. And here's the deeper thing. Reachability isn't the actual problem. It's the defaults. So we took every messaging app's default notification and we let them become our personality. Slack ships with sounds on. iMessage shows previews on the lock screen. Email pings with previews. Calendar pings 30 minutes before, 10 minutes before, 1 minute before. We installed all of it. So it's always constantly in our face, constantly stimulating. And we didn't change any of it. So the unreachable people you envy aren't gifted. They didn't do some monk like enlightenment on being unreachable. They went into settings and they just turned shit off. That's the whole secret. Reclaiming defaults is the actual flex. It's just a less sexier story that, oh, I disappeared off the grid into the woods for this weekend. And if reachability has flipped, you look at visibility. And the old flex was being seen. I mean, it was literally that's what added value to someone as a person. The blue check mark, your follower count. Have you seen what she posted for about a decade? Call it 2010 to 2020. Being known meant you mattered. If you had that 10,000 follower count, oh, wow, they're an influencer. Visibility was the proxy for status, and the metric was eyeballs. And now the new flex is being unseen. I deleted Instagram, or I'm not really online. And the friend who doesn't post, the one Instagram account who's private, whose Twitter has 9 tweets since 2017, whose LinkedIn is just a name and a job title. The most aspirational version of this in 2026 is being un-Googleable. Like, my name is Fady I run a AI tech company. Very easy to find me on Google. I used to think that was cool. Now I'm like, shit, I can't escape it. The fact that you Google someone and there's no hit, they have a quiet life, they opted out, The internet doesn't have a complete dossier on them, and that's the flex. A few years ago, that would have been super weird, like suspicious. Why aren't you online? What are you hiding? What's wrong with you? Are you married? Are you a serial killer? Now it's the move. Now it's the thing you whisper about a friend with respect. Like, she's just really private. So the way that people used to say, she's just really, really wealthy. Like, that same energy is what people have. And so I run a podcast. I run a company. I can't fully play this game, and I'm not. I don't pretend to. If you're a founder or creator or anything like that, it's the same. Doesn't mean we can't notice the rules that changed. The fact that I'm structurally on the other side or the wrong side of this trend is part of why I find it interesting. I created a new public Instagram for this reason, to build an audience. I still have my private one that only is my actual real people that I let in my life, but I started purposely being out there more to build a brand. I started a TikTok. I've been against TikTok literally since the day that it came out. Now I have a public account that I'm trying to build and grow, and my social media people help me actually do stuff on it. And here's what's interesting. We didn't actually get less social. Nobody got quieter. Nobody's talking less. No one's doing less things. What happened is the conversation has moved. So group chats replaced posting. The thing you used to tweet, you put in a 6-person group chat now. The story you used to put on Instagram, you put on your close friends only story for 14 people. We got more selective about who's allowed to watch. And having a public account now is kind of like, nah, whatever. At Clockwork, we used to sell primarily to accountants. And I didn't realize there was this whole like top tier private subculture group of just accountants, kind of like a club. And when I got invited into the WhatsApp group as one of the only partners, not an actual accountant, it was like a badge of honor. And when I got invited to their private invite only events, it was like, holy shit, like this is cool. I felt good about it. And the irony is, being in the right group chats now is its own status game. You can tell who's high status now by which DMs they're in, not what they post, which is the most pre-internet thing in the world. We've recreated the dinner party. We just did it on iMessage. And I can't even text people who don't have iPhones. Like, how insane is that? Me personally, it's such an ick for me that I refuse to text anyone one-on-one if it just shows up as a green bubble. And don't get me started on the group chat that has a green bubble. No one engages in it. They're out, or they move to WhatsApp. And it's the same wedge as before. It just has to be said, being invisible is also a privilege. You know who can't disappear? It's the creators, the content creators, the small business owners, the freelancers, anybody whose career is literally their feed, the real estate agents, the authors trying to sell a book, people building a brand because that's how they pay their rent. So if your livelihood is downstream of your visibility, you don't get to opt out. The I don't really post anymore move is not available to you. Me building this brand, building this podcast, I'm posting twice a day. I'm doing all these things. That's not a moral failure on any of our part. It's just the actual structure of the work. It's what we choose to do moving forward. If you can disappear and you don't, the question is like, what do you think will happen if you stop? That was always the biggest thing when I was starting Clockwork. I was always like, I have to respond to all these things. And one of my best friends was like, well, what happens if you don't? I'm like, I don't know what happens if I don't. And so I stopped responding to a few things like immediately, and things got responded to. They got taken care of. My team started picking up the things just because that's what they do. I just didn't have to be a psycho about it. And for me, I just didn't want to disappear. In the early days, that's how I felt like I was doing something. Now I'm like, holy shit, finally someone took this off my plate. Phenomenal. And we post about wanting to disappear. We talk about going off the grid like it's a lottery we keep buying tickets for. But if you actually let most of us disappear, like genuinely fully disappear, completely unplugged, no audience at all, we'd lose our minds in a week and we'd be back. There's a reason that people will retire and then they come back. So what we actually want is what way more specific about that. We don't want to disappear. We just want to be seen by people who already get it and are invisible to everyone else. That's it. Like, that's the desire. The desire doesn't have a clean name to it. It's not invisibility, it's selectivity. We want to be witnessed by the right small group of people. That's status. We want to put down the part of our identity that's performing for strangers. And for me, like right now, the most fun rooms I'm in with my parents, my siblings, my cousin, my few closest friends, I have a very, very tight circle and I love it that way. And those are my favorite rooms on earth. And none of them are on the internet. That desire is real. It's not a flex. It's just the most honest thing on the internet right now. And we're acting like it's some status move because that's the only frame we've been given. So, what's the actual move? Invisibility isn't the win. Choosing your audience, that's the real win. Choosing who you actually care to let in your life, that's the win. Most people doing the quote unquote, I'm offline or I'm off the grid, they're not choosing, they're just tired. They're faking it or they're running. And those are really the main things that are happening. So editing your audience looks like you keep the 4 people who actually care about you. You stop performing for the 800 who don't. And it doesn't lead a quiet life. A lot of people like think that that's like the flex, like, oh, I live a quiet life. No, you live a focused one. You have a focused life. When it comes to effort, it's the one nobody admits they're playing. The old flex was looking like you tried. Polished cover letter, the planned outfit, the earnest LinkedIn post that took you 45 minutes to write, the thank you card, the thoughtful gift, the witty caption on your Instagram post so people think that you're clever. That effort was respectable. That effort was a sign that you genuinely cared. And now the new flex is this looking like you don't care. I just threw this on, or I don't really plan my content, or my hobbies are I'm in my camera era. I'm in my this, I'm in my that. It's just something that I'm doing. Quiet luxury, the old money aesthetic, the no makeup, the wrinkled linen shirt that costs $500, the I don't really care about social media from someone whose career is literally social media. Effortless is the move, right? Everyone talks about being nonchalant. We have entered this era where being seen to try is embarrassing. It's cringy, where caring visibly is officially uncool, where the highest aesthetic compliment you can pay someone is, oh, it's like they're not even trying. And the problem with that is it's the most labor intensive aesthetic in the world. Not trying is so much more hard than trying. We're doing more work than ever to make it look like you're not bothered. The unbothered thing. Chances are you're probably pretty bothered. The no makeup that took 7 products. The quiet luxury costs way more than loud luxury. The hard launch post of this just happened. It took 5 months of planning and meetings and doing all this stuff. The casual photo dump is super curated, right? The, oh, I just threw this on outfit is 3 hours of trying things on in front of your full length mirror, taking pictures and analyzing them. The cost of looking like you don't care has gone up. And I've personally never been a nonchalant guy. And in the dating world, being nonchalant is what works. And I have no idea why or how people made that up, but here we are. And I'm genuinely convinced no one actually wants to be nonchalant. They just don't want to be nonchalant first. And the worst part is we know, like everybody knows there's no longer an audience that thinks, oh, she really just threw that on. Everyone knows the photo dump is curated. Everyone knows that if you don't respond to that text right away, they're going to be kind of tripping out, crashing out, as they say. Everyone knows the hard launch was choreographed. We're all in on it. We're all performing nonchalance for an audience that also is performing nonchalance back at us. And so it's the most exhausting kind of theater because no one's allowed to admit it's theater. It's all fake. Companies say just send the resume because anything more polished feels suspicious. The candidate who tries too hard is overeager. The candidate who's casual is confident. The investor who isn't tripping over the thing, the portfolio company founder who's like, hey, if you give me money, cool. If you don't, cool. They're the ones who have options. And the unboxing influencer who's surprised at the product they were paid to receive. We watch it. We pretend not to know it's a script. We pretend not to know that we know what they're doing. The hard launch post, baby, I think I'm in love. This was 3 weeks of a group chat strategy with all your friends. The casual photo dump on Instagram that's actually a careful narrative arc. Pretty ugly food, friend, blurry, sunset, 5 photos that look like a moment, but it's a storyboard. Everyone says just go post 5 stories from your album. Like you didn't actually plan it out. Everyone knows that. And the no big deal birthday post that took an hour to caption. The casualness is all choreography. And we've all agreed to call the choreography just natural. Like, oh, they just don't care. They're nonchalant. They don't care about what people think. And now when you think about being fair, looking like you tried also used to be cringe. The showy striver, the try hard, the kid who reminded the teacher about the homework, the guy who put detail oriented on his resume in bold. I was that guy. The cover letter that started with a quote. None of that was good either. Visible effort was embarrassing. It had its own show, its own version of embarrassing. So this isn't a clean morality tale of we used to value effort and now we don't, but both versions are just vibes. The flip isn't from good to bad. It's just one aesthetic performance to another aesthetic performance. And both are about other people's perception of us. It's not about who we actually are and how we actually want to show up. The question is really the same. Are you doing the thing for the thing? Are you doing the thing for the perception of the thing? Because the perception game has been going on the entire time. It's just the aesthetic that shifts. So what gets me to what I actually think the move is, the play isn't to look effortless. The play isn't to look like you tried. The play is to actually try and let it show. Earnestness is the only flex that nobody's faking it, because faking it means dropping the irony. And the irony is the part that everyone's hiding. The shrug, the, oh, whatever, the, oh, I don't really care. That's armor that people have so they don't get hurt, so they don't look like they're hurt. The thing nobody's talking about is taking the armor off and saying, yeah, I tried, I failed. Or yeah, I cared, I got hurt. Yeah, I planned this. Yeah, I want this. Yes, this matters to me. You don't see that. And I've spent enough time pretending not to care about things to know, right? It doesn't make you cool. It makes you tired. It's exhausting doing that. The people I actually respect, the founders that I trust, the friends who've stayed, they're earnest. They're real people. They just say, yes, I want this. Yes, I tried. Yes, it matters. Earnesty wins quietly, and it always has. The real people at the top, they know that. They've done that. And the real people doing the real hard work right now, they're doing that. We've just in a moment where the cost of pretending finally feels higher than the cost of being seen wanting something. And the reason it works is because everyone can tell. The body knows. You can feel earnestness across a room. You can feel it in a podcast voice. There's some episodes, just even in this season, where people are like, you weren't completely into it. I'm like, yeah, I really wasn't. You can feel it in someone's text, right? If someone texts you dry and you're like, oh, shoot, what happened? What's wrong? Da, da, da. It's the thing that was true the whole time, but we covered it up with vibes, right? Because vibes make us feel nonchalant. Vibes make us feel safer. And so the cost of earnestness is you might look like you tried and it didn't work. And that's the risk. That's why it's a real flex and the others aren't. And effortless doesn't risk anything. Earnestness risks everything. So when you think about reachability, visibility, effort, it's the same pattern in all of them. Status inverts the moment it gets democratized. The flex is always whatever 95% of the people can't do or can't be. And the moment everyone can do it, the goalposts move. So we invented tools to be reachable, and then reachability stopped being the flex. We invented tools to be visible, but visibility stopped being the flex. We invented tools to look polished, and now polish stopped being the flex. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. We're still playing the rules from 2018. We're still answering every email in 5 seconds. We're still posting out of habit. We're doing the 2018 thing and still feeling like we feel behind. And the exit isn't winning the new game. The new game is going to flip too. Whatever you optimize for in 2026 is going to look embarrassing in 2032. It's just how things go. And the most important thing is just noticing the game, knowing the game and being in the game and being real to yourself. So realizing being reachable, being visible, looking like you tried. They're all just ways of asking strangers to confirm that you matter. And strangers suck at that job. And I'll tell you the version of the question that I've been sitting with. I've been carrying around this definition of a flex that I picked up in all these cities that I haven't lived in for years. I was answering questions nobody else was asking, trying to win games no one was scoring. And nobody was going to send me that memo either. And I had to figure it out myself. So this has been the Real Slim Fady Show. I'm your host, Fady Hawatma, and we'll catch you next time.